Well, the federal government remains open, at least for the next 45 days after the House and Senate passed a last-minute stopgap measure to keep the federal government operating for the next 45 days. And ultimately, that's something we're going to hear a lot more about heading into the next 45 days here. So you've got the bill being signed by President Joe Biden late on Saturday, just before October 1st kicked in and the federal government was set to shut down. All kinds of controversy about this, from the Republican Matt Gaetz wanting to bring a measure up to essentially unseat Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. So a Republican against a Republican, but you've got others saying that Democrats were trying to force a shutdown. For whatever reason, was it going to be, a political messaging technique heading into the 2024 election to say, look, Republicans can't manage the House. They allowed for the government to shut down, especially with a Democrats pulling a fire alarm that's halted official proceedings while they dealt with that fire alarm, and that Democrat saying that, oh, whoops, he mistakenly thought it was something to open the door, even though the fire alarm clearly says on a big red and white letter fire alarm. And, it was one of those you had to push in and then pull. So there were two steps to actually do that. So some saying that they're going to try to expel him from the House, and he should probably face some kind of criminal penalties for officially obstructing a government proceeding, which is what a lot of people who are charged in the January 6th riots are charged with, trying to delay an official government proceeding. So you've got that to contend with. But one thing that's not part of this temporary spending bill is money for Ukraine. That was a big sticking point. Do we continue to give funds to Ukraine in their fight against Russia? There was also no money on the border situation with the ongoing influx of non-citizen migrants crossing the border, just as much as 10,000 in one instance. In one day. So you've got that as well at play here. And a lot of Republicans saying that funding to secure the border is going to be linked with funding for Ukraine. And they're going to try to get that together within the next 45 days. What all that means for the farm bill, not sure. Are they going to be able to get a farm bill, even a temporary one, approved as they work on a fuller 5-year farm bill? That still is very much up in the air. But President Joe Biden was in front of cameras and talking about the situation of the stopgap measure being passed and him signing it. But he was also asked just about the politics of all of this and about House Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
Mr. President, are you going to be able to trust Speaker McCarthy when the next deal comes around?
We just made one about Ukraine, so we'll find out.
But are you worried that he is going to be forced by fellow Republicans to back away from any deal he cuts with you?
I hope this experience for the Speaker has been one of a personal revelation. I'm not being facetious.
Anyway. Are you concerned about America's reputation on the world stage, given the level of brinksmanship we've seen this year?
Based on the mega Republican report, yes. Based on what my administration is doing, no. Thank you.
Thank you. MAGA Republicans, and what was with that long pause in the president's response? Kind of fascinating to hear that. Again, a long pause. So, we'll watch, of course, all of this transpire, but you also have former President Donald Trump. He's going to appear apparently in a civil court hearing up in New York, where a judge there ordered that Trump break up his businesses, alleging and finding the judge there that he was fraudulently inflating the cost of his properties in order for, different types of loan offerings and whatnot. So you've got that at play as well. Obviously, the impeachment inquiry that started last week, RFK Jr. rather, set to announce some kind of independent presidential bid, and a whole host of other things in the national political world that are fascinating. And hopefully we've all got our popcorn ready to watch all this continue to